You online? I'm not gonna look at everybody's logs, alright? Just relax. Okay. Retard can't speak more than one language. This is Europeans who know 3. Yeah, well, I mean, if you know English, that's all you need to fucking know. Like, why would I want to learn another language? English is used by pretty much, like, what? I can never think of a use. I'm gonna be honest. I can literally never think of a useful use of knowing another language. Besides, like, maybe Chinese or something. Like, if there's any other language I'd want to learn, would be, like, Mandarin or something like that.
Well, Spanish is pretty good. You should probably... Really. Yeah, definitely Spanish.
Why?
Just like, trust me.
Okay. So much for the wall. All right, let's go.
Relax, dude.
I think that one was okay.
Patch 8.2. I think that is the question that is going through many people's heads right now. So, today we are going to try to pick that apart. We're going to review the patch and work out who it's good for and who it's not good for.
Better be good for me.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Warcraft video. So, yeah, patch 8.2, it's just about here. It has been on the PTR for quite some time indeed, and, well, yeah, it's coming out on the 25th, so right in line with Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers Early Access, so...
Did you guys ever notice that? How Blizzard just, somehow released their 8.2 on the same day that the Final Fantasy expansion's coming out? Didn't that seem a little bit, coincidental? I mean, you know, what it is, honestly, guys, is it's just a long series of coincidences that's lasted for 10 years.
I think for a lot of people, there's a bit of a decision to make there. And really, in today's video, we're just going to be going through this patch, working out what it's doing that's good, what's bad, and essentially who it's for. We're going to kick it off with a more sort of general view of things, and we'll start that with the world content. Because I think when people think about a new patch, they normally think about, where am I going and what am I doing? So yeah, you're going to Nazjatar and you're going to Mechagon.
Wow.
That's where you're going. What you're doing, though, very much does depend on the two zones, and I think that's the interesting part of this patch. Nazjatar, I initially hoped would be a bit more, just a bit more fresh. But being real with you, Nazjatar is just another big outdoor zone. It has a storyline that you go through. It has world quests. It has those sort of objectives that you do on a daily basis. Now, there are some good improvements. So it has a war mode thing called the Battle for Nazjatar. That's a really, really cool system. I really like that.
That's great.
And it does have
That's amazing.
That can crop
That's awesome.
Up, which I think are another really good step forward.
Okay.
However,
good.
It very much is an iteration on, say, an Argus/Tanan jungle type of experience. Now, that said, if we're going like for like, it is still a lot better than, say, the Broken Shore of the Middle of Legion, right? So it is a pretty darn solid zone. It just very much is a typical WoW outdoor zone. That's pretty much what you're getting there, and...
Everybody knows that's what's gonna happen. Like, there's, like, Nazjatar might be a little bit special, but for the most part, it's something that everybody's already seen before with Timeless Isle, Tanan Jungle, and the Broken Shore, and probably also Argus. Posty, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, dude.
That means that for the people who are just fine continuing to play through that style of content, you will actually have a lot of playtime there. You know, there's reputations to go through. There are rare mobs to kill,
like 30
to get
hours.
achievement. There is quite a lot, and there's definitely a few more things extra with Nazjatar than there has been in previous zones. So it does seem to be, by all accounts, a very good zone as far as a traditional WoW zone goes, but it still is a traditional WoW zone. It's not going to be massively transformative, and it will be providing you with, I would say, a very well-executed version of a familiar gameplay experience. Now, let's move on to Mechagon, because Mechagon is very different. It's the one that I'm personally a lot more interested in, based off my playtime in the PTR.
I like Mechagon more, too.
Yeah, essentially, if you liked Timeless Isles, you'll probably really like Mechagon. Now, Mechagon, there are some gear rewards from there, and I will talk about those in a bit, but it's not really somewhere you go for the gear.
There it is.
There are mounts and pets, sort of different types of rewards for your character.
One of the good things about fucking Timeless Isle is that you could actually sit there and farm that shit forever. The problem with a lot of the rewards now, Potsy with the other 5 more gifted community subs. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you. The problem with this other thing, right, is that you get the rewards too fast. Like, the drop rates on the rewards are so fucking high that you're just able to get them so quickly, then you're done.
And what I think's a lot better about Mechagon is that it is a bit more freeform. Now, it is true that means it's a bit more grindy. You're going to be going and trying to get all the spare parts you can get and all of the blue and epic Mechagon-specific resources.
That's what it's about.
I will say that I found the process of that to be pretty fun. And the main reason why is it's just a well-designed zone. The progression through it is pretty well-designed, and importantly, I think a lot of the gameplay there, it just feels a lot more permissible because it's all in the service of entirely self-set goals. It's like, I want the Mechano Saber, and I want to get some paint jobs for it. Okay, here's how I do it. So you go out, and sure, it's a bit grindy, but it's some self-set stuff for you to do, which I think does make content like that feel a lot better than feeling like you're mandated to do it to get to the next stage of a quest that you maybe need to unlock an achievement or something like that.
I think that Blizzard, what they're doing with Mechagon is they're making it more open-ended. And it feels like Blizzard is afraid to make open-ended content because they think their players are so stupid they won't know what to do with it. But every single other instance of open... Are we good? Yeah, we had a quick little hiccup there. I do apologize for that, guys, but unfortunately the game's a piece of shit, and sorry, the website's a piece of shit, and it's the way it goes. All right, yeah, that's basically saved. Okay, it's dying of mobs. No, listen, this is very, very good. Making open-ended content is something that we've been waiting for a very, very long time.
So I'd say that Mechagon is really quite good indeed. There's a lot more experimentation there. There's interesting things like the kind of weird like Terminator thing they've got going on with the spider bots are everywhere, and it's like post-apocalypse with Chromie. That's really cool. And it's just a more playful, fun zone. I think it's a really big win. I think it's a big win in many of the ways. The Timeless Isles were a big win.
Fuck yeah.
And I think players will enjoy it quite a bit. I'm not necessarily sure if players will just be screaming its praises on launch day, but what I think will happen is you'll see this massive burst in Nazjatar playtime because it's the main new zone, and that's where all the benthic gear comes from.
That's the
But
loot.
I think that over time you'll just see that Mechagon has quite a long tail to it. I think that's pretty much what the numbers would show.
Long
not
tail.
Really have access to them. So there is the two sort of core bits of world content. I think they are both better.
That's fucking great. No, why even bother? What do you mean, why even bother? Like, who here doesn't like mounts? Who here's a fucking loser? Like, if you're playing retail WoW, the only meta for retail WoW that makes any fucking sense is to collect items. That's the only meta that matters. PvP doesn't matter. It's full of absorb gear and Titan Forge, like fucking bullshit Crucible of Storm stuff. And then the next patch, it's going to probably be the same thing with different tank trinkets and everything. PvE is a boring waste of time. The other people can get better gear than you just by getting lucky in lower difficulties. Like, there's only one meta of WoW that matters anymore. And the only meta that matters is the completionism meta. If you're not playing the game for completionism, then you're playing it wrong. Like, I usually don't like to say that people are actually playing the game wrong, but if you're playing WoW right now for raiding or for PvP or for anything like that, Mythic Plus, you're just doing it wrong. That's all there is to it. Mount farmers are the master race. They are the ones that actually know and understand the game on the most thorough and fulfilling level. They know how to make the game the best. But no, this is true. Like, they know the most about the game. I'm playing it for the beta. No, what are all the questions? Right? Yeah, pet collectors, transmog collectors, toy collectors. Like, those are the alpha males of the game now. Having gladiator doesn't matter. There's too many gladiators. But if you have all of these items together, that means you've accomplished this much in the game. Here's why it's better to do this, okay? Get mad all you want. Because what if you're into both? You should be, right? But the priority should be collecting the items. Your gear gets replaced every patch. Your rating gets reset every season. Your Mythic Plus times are changed every season as well. your mounts stay the same. You keep your mounts. If you get the mount, you have the mount. Nobody can ever take that away from you. You have it. And you beat that part of the game. That is the final frontier of deterministic ultimate success in the game. I'm serious. Seasonal mounts incoming? That's fine, because after you have that mount, after the season's over, you still have that mount. Only thing that matters is collecting items now. That's what the game is all about. I know there's a lot of people that are upset about this because it's not what they want to hear. But it's the truth.
Better than what we have. I think the Nazjatar is iterative, and to somebody with my desires for in-game content and WoW, it being a bit iterative is a bit of a disappointment, but at least Mechagon is there, and I think that is a hell of a lot better than what we've been used to. So overall, I would say the world content it's not a massive victory, but it is a victory. So now that we've covered that, let's talk about the narrative content.
This is a shit nobody cares about.
And, this is a weird one. I don't think it's the type of content that people really enjoy playing a massive amount when it's in the war campaign kind of format.
Boring.
I think what went down a lot better was, say, Suramar. And I don't think they're getting close to Suramar here. It very much is just the standard.
You know why Suramar was better? Is because the city was so fucking confusing, you couldn't even use the quest objective markers to decide what the fuck you were going to do in the city. So you literally had to even read the quests in Legion for Suramar because the city was so fucking confusing. And because it was so confusing, because you had to read the quests, you learned the lore, and because you learned the lore, that means that you enjoyed it because you were forced into doing it. That's good, though it was.
Style war campaign type of questing. So be it Nazjatar or the war campaign, that's essentially what you're getting. It very much is the standard World of Warcraft narrative stuff where it's pretty easy. There's no real challenge. There aren't super interesting rewards. It's just a kind of a thing that you do, I guess, while you unlock parts of the zone in the case of Nazjatar. I think Blizzard could probably innovate a good bit more in this area. And, it's interesting. I think that, for those who really enjoy the lore, there is really cool writing here, but it's not really...
Who gives a fuck, man? Who cares? Like, you're just going to go through these... you don't even need to read anything. The lore doesn't matter. Like, who gives a fuck? I mean, the characters, like, at least Ashara has some relevance in the game. Like, there are so many of the lore quests in BFA, I've actually had to just knock some of those out just because I ran out of room for them on my quest log, and I just wanted to get them out of the way. Like, these lore quests are so fucking bad because they're boring and they're easy. They need to make them a lot harder. If they made the lore quests, imagine this. Imagine if, in order to do the war campaign, you had to do quests and challenges that were equivalent to the Mage Tower. People would fucking love it. People would be so happy. They'd be like, oh my god, I can't wait for the new war campaign to come out, right? Because it's like imagine like you're basically playing like 2 or 3 hours of WoW, of Dark Souls difficulty level WoW content. It'd be fucking awesome. But now they just do this easy bullshit just because every single person is entitled to learn the story and nobody gives a fuck about it. It's boring. People cry it's too hard. I know.
Gameplay.
People will cry that it's... No, you're right. They will cry that it's too hard. And you know what you do? Nothing. That's too bad. That's too far. They can watch it on YouTube. The problem is that, yeah, people cry about everything. People are crying that it's too easy. So people cry that it's too hard, or they cry that it's too easy. People are crying either way.
It's just, fun stuff to absorb while you're doing your normal World of Warcraft tasks. It's the kind of thing where I think a similar amount of enjoyment would be got whether it's watching Nobble's coverage of it or playing it, because I think most of the interest there
probably better
is
with
not really
Nobble.
in experiencing that story. I think it's far more about knowing, what's new in the story of World of Warcraft? Where's that going? Because there's a prior interest in the story of World of Warcraft, and not necessarily because Blizzard are making a super high quality 8-hour campaign. Now, in terms of running time, I'd say it is also pretty true that the narrative content of this patch doesn't really have a massive runtime, which I think is probably what most people would expect.
Good. That means I don't have to do it.
It is decently varied. You have
that's great.
You have the stuff where you're going around with the champions of Azeroth, Magni and co. You're going around the Dragonflight, so that's one sort of story thread. Then you've got your main story in Nazjatar, and then you've got the war campaign. Neither are massively long, but it is, I suppose, nice to see a little bit of variety there. So it very much is, I'd say, a take it or leave it thing. I don't think it's really a massive draw for the patch, though.
No.
And with an hour to cover, let's
imagine somebody coming back to the patch and saying, "Oh man, I can't wait to play the new story." McConnell, how many friends do you have that play WoW?
Just you.
Have you ever heard somebody say in 8.1 that they're coming back to the patch to play the war campaign?
No.
Yeah.
Dude, did you know they got rid of all... I haven't seen a single hostile enemy in any of the leveling zones I'm doing. They got rid of any hostile enemies, man.
What?
In the beginning leveling areas, in the starter areas, I haven't seen any.
So what, they're just like target dummies? You just attack? What?
No, they're yellow. They don't attack you. They just fucking stand there.
Well, I mean, the starting zones...
Sorry, aggressive.
Yeah, I mean like yellow or red mobs, right? Like the red mobs that like are, they're hostile to you versus just neutral mobs.
Yeah, they're all neutral, dude.
Well, the kobolds were neutral and the wolves were neutral, right? I mean, what about the Defias?
No, they're yellow.
Wait, the Defias are yellow?
Yes. Neutral, sorry.
They're not? Yeah, is that even true? I don't even fucking know if that's true. I don't know. They weren't yellow yesterday? I don't know. I mean, like, leveling nowadays, like, leveling...
No. I'm talking about current WoW in retail.
Yeah. Obviously, you're not talking about vanilla. Dwarf and Gnome starting zone. They're red in a stress test. Yeah, no, we're talking about, like, retail WoW. Yeah. They attack? They changed that years ago? I know, dude. I just can't fucking believe that, man. It's been like that for 8 years.
Well, yeah, but I haven't made a new character in a while. I didn't know they got rid of all hostile mobs in the starter area. I think gnomes have some, don't they?
What the fuck? I hope that's not actually true, but if it is, I wouldn't be surprised. Mobs in Northshire Abbey that are hostile. Well, I fucking hope so, dude. Can we talk about time gating content in BFA? Maybe at the end of this. Yeah, I mean, sure.
Let's move on to something entirely different, and that is systems.
You're watching a video, my bad.
And we'll kick it off with the essences system. So, look, right, here's the deal. The essences don't fix the classes. Now, I don't really think Blizzard would have ever claimed that they would have fixed the classes, even though that's what I think a lot of people would have wanted from them. Now, of course, the essences, they are not like class-specific, bar one essence, which affects your class abilities. They are just general effects, which I would say are not class or spec-specific, but they do tie into the gameplay rules of the game. And I think they're decently engaging, actually.
Wait, what? The Heart of Azeroth doesn't give you class-specific abilities?
Wait, what? Oh, spec specific?
But is there anything class... Wait. Role specific? Come on, dude. That's so stupid, man. Like, that's so stupid. They need to make new class abilities. Like, is it really going to break the game? Come on.
I think it's a really good progression system. I like how they have designed it. I like how you go out, you earn the different ranks of your essences, you slot them into your heart, and once you've earned them, you've earned them. There's no time forging, there's nothing like that. it's not a solve to the class design issues of the game. It is just another toy for your classes, and that definitely does help a good bit.
I guess that's
far more
nice.
a solve to the Battle for Azeroth, or not the Battle for Azeroth problems, though I suppose they are one and the same, the Heart of Azeroth problems that we've had so far with the Azerite gear, where the essences just are far more impactful than the Azerite traits that you will have got. But unlike the Azerite traits, you're not constantly, replacing them as you say, get some new shoulders.
What are those crystals
for?
What the fuck?
I think that does mean it's a far, far better system. You just kind of look at your list of things that you can unlock, and even if it kind of like taps into a bit of that completionism where you just want to go and get all the essences. So because of that, I think that as far as external class systems go, it's actually a really good one, because unlike even elements of the Legion artifacts, well, on this, you've got your major slot, you've got your 2 minor slots, and then you just have a whole bunch of essences. Unlock them at your own pace, mix and match which ones you want. Sure, some will be the best for different scenarios, but I think it's a really good system. You can fiddle around with that. Maybe between the essences that you have and your class's talents, you can create a specified build, right? That's sort of more tailored to what you want to do in the game. And I think things like that are really good for World of Warcraft. That's the kind of like class experimentation that I think is more fun than just, crunching a bunch of numbers, even though it probably is just going to boil down to that. So,
yeah, everybody knows that. I have a question. Is Ashar's Eternal Palace the last raid? Because we had Uldir.
No.
It's not.
No, they still got to deal with Sylvanas. Sylvanas is the last boss.
Yeah, Ashara is the Goldana BFA. There will be no 8.3. I don't know. I thought that it was gonna be like a three tier expansion, and so it would be like Uldir, BOD, and then Ashara. There's 2 more raids?
No way. What?
Holy shit, that's a lot.
Dude, BFA is content packed. There's so much to do.
Imagine if you started in BFA right now and you had all of that content waiting for you. You would have to go through Uldir and level up through dungeons and get heroic dungeon gear and then go into normal mode Uldir and then finally you do BOD. That would be cool. I don't know what happened to that idea. Ashara's BFA's killed Jaden. Yeah, that's actually pretty much it. Okay, I see now. So Ashara will lead us into the last patch.
Put though, it's a lot better than the state that we were in, where you were looking at a bunch of random damage effects on Azerite traits and just thinking, these are really boring effects, but they actually matter a lot, so I need to go onto Blood Mallet or something like that.
Right.
So overall, I would say essences are a big win. Now, there's also the Azerite traits to cover, and it's kind of weird. So the Azerite traits are still fundamentally kind of annoying because it's just hard to get a good build when you're also changing your gear all the time, and I really don't like having to maintain the multiple gear sets. I just think the UI and like that.
I think I've got 2 whole bags full of Azerite gear that I just carry around with me. I'd take a piss. I'll be right back.
Oh, shut up, chat. Shut the fuck up. You know what, dude? I'm just kidding. I like most of you. But you know what? I say bad things about EU, but it's because you guys don't understand. Like you don't like I thought fucking English people were famous for sarcasm. But it seems like a lot of EU you guys don't understand sarcasm, and like there's some of the EU people are some of the last people left that are still calling me McCuck every day. I swear to God, it's basically there's a couple Americans or whatever, Australians, whatever, but typically it's mostly EU, and I just chalk it up to you guys being stupid. I don't know what else to say. I just think you guys are, I don't know, you're clueless. You're just clueless idiots.
Who is?
Huh?
Who is?
Twitch Prime.
True.
interaction flow is really quite sucky. But that said, you do have your outer ring, which gives you more choices. You've then got your, your inner ring, so that gives you a lot more traits. And in terms of how Blizzard have actually costed all of those, there's basically no Heart of Azeroth farming for the sake of Azerite stuff. So
Thank God.
whole problem where you were farming to re-unlock traits you'd already unlocked, man, how tedious. That is not a problem in this patch.
Man, they really needed to just patch that out. Like, there's so many times, like, Blizzard, there's, like, an obvious problem in the game. Blizzard knows that it's a problem, but they hold off on fixing the problem for, like, 8 months. That's so stupid. Like, they need to stop doing that.
So while the Azerite gear is still not really that great, well, we're getting a lot of new effects through the essences. We're still maintaining a whole bunch of new stuff through the Azerite gear. It at least is giving your characters more stuff. It's not ideal. I think Blizzard know it's not ideal. I doubt it's the sort of thing we'll see in the next expansion, but I think by virtue of the Azerite traits mattering less, they are now less of a problem in the game. That's pretty much how I'd put that one.
Okay.
And then I suppose when I run through other things, like there's stuff like, say, the Pet Battle Mega Dungeon, which,
Bro, dude, are you ready? Are you ready for the Pet Battle Dungeon?
You know what? I am kind of excited for flying. I can't wait to get that.
Actually, yeah,
I'm gonna get
It's
that.
gonna be fucking awesome.
I'm gonna get that immediately.
Like, whenever 8.2 comes out, dude, I'm thinking I might even do, like, the 18-hour stream and do, like, the achievement stream for 8.2. Maybe, like, this coming...
you're not.
Bro, like, I looked at my...
You're gonna get 8 hours into it, and so you got a throat problem because you've been going, like, oh, like that too much, and then you're just gonna call it.
I did a 16-hour stream whenever Classic came out. And I felt fine at the end of it. Like, this is kind of a weird thing, but whenever I stream more, it's easier for me to stream more. And it happened, I don't know, like, if that makes sense to you guys or not, but whenever any time that I actually play, like, it's easy for me to get on and stream every single day, but whenever I first start taking days off, then I think about, okay, maybe I should take another day off, etc., right? And old 5-hour streams, yeah, I mean, I don't know, that's the way it is. Soda just got stream sniped and closed the stream. Yeah, I mean, that's why I sit around and I just watch YouTube videos in Ironforge. It works great, okay? Classic's an amazing game. And, I mean, like, again, you can play on a... Like, the thing is that, like, there's nothing else really that you can do about that. You know what I mean? Besides just, like, playing on another server or trying to, like, go to different layers, etc. People are very, you are so freaking fake. Wait. How am I being fake? Solidus, how, I want to know. I want to know how I'm being fake. Just a minute. No, I want to know. I want to know right now. How am I being fake? Solidus games. Well, what am I doing that's fake? We're waiting.
By the way, I was wrong because I'm dumb. But basically, there's no Defias, remember? There's no Defias in the human area. It's the Blackrock orcs now. And they're hostile.
He says, you said you hated flying, now you like it. What? No, that's like a big reason why people... Like, I've been defending... no, I never said that. Like, I never said that I hate flying. Like, I've said that the opposite. I've said that they should make flying zones like storm peaks. Like, remember the analogy that I've made many times about how badass it was to be able to fly from mountaintop to mountaintop in storm peaks?
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like, yes, I think adding flying to Azeroth was probably a bad idea, but having flying into new zones and unlocking it with Pathfinder, I mean, that was even something that I suggested. So that's not the case at all. Like, I mean, I'm so confused here. So there it goes. Just a second. There's a context. Yeah, I mean, like, the context of that is completely different. Now you can't wait for flying. You said that you hated the idea when playing Classic. Someone find a vid? I'll be waiting. Yeah, I've actually been, like, and And anybody can say, like, I've been one of the only people, this is one of the things that a lot of people that are like classic purists disagree with me on. I don't think flying killed the game. I don't. I think that flying wasn't integrated in a way that was healthy for the game, maybe, but I don't think that it killed the game, and I don't have a problem with it. Like, I mean, I think the game should be designed with flying in mind to some degree, but there are other zones that I'm okay with not having flying in. Flying is not bad by the nature of it being flying. Flying can be bad, flying has been bad, but flying is not innately bad. Okay, like, does that make sense? So that flying was bad a number of times? Well, no. I'm just find the clip. Find the clip of me saying it, and I'll explain the nuance to it. Yeah, this makes perfect sense. Everyday new opinion, Andy. Well, yeah, that's because we're talking about different things. By the way, I'm like, somebody is making fun of me for this. I put out my own video. It gets 12,000 views. Someone else puts out fucking, like, what is this? Asmongold. They put out their video, and it gets 285,000 views. Literally. I actually want to play BFA. 285,000. Meanwhile, whenever I put out a video, nobody fucking watches it. But all these fucking, like, look at this. Even this one right here, already 900. This is already getting put up 1 hour ago. Yeah, this is insane, man. Let's see, last hour. We've had, what is this? We've had 5 videos uploaded. Well, why Asmongold Manchild? Like, why would you even upload videos? You obviously don't like it, but whatever, who cares? So let's just keep going. All right, Gaddy, thank you very much for the 5 good community subs. I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you, thank you, dude. Strike their channels? No, it's not that. Your vids are trash? They're not. That video is fucking amazing. It was a great video. I got, like, universally positive feedback from that video. So I don't want to hear about it. Check the video where you lost the mount off. Wait, what is this here? Where you lost the mount off has 1.6 million views. Yeah, I know. That's okay. You know what? That's what I should do. You're right. I should react to my own video, and then my reaction of my own video will probably get more views than the actual video.
Oh, God.
It's like the human centipede. Except for there's only one person. You're just eating your own shit.
Is really quite good, and I guess, speaking of dungeons, there's the Mechagon Mecha Dungeon, which, again, looks really, really, really good, and from the reports that I've heard, is actually a really good bit of content. That's wonderful to see. So if you enjoy dungeons, that's going to be a good thing to come and experience. The, you know, the Mythic Plus stuff is, I mean, it's the same Battle for Azeroth Mythic Plus dungeons. If, you know, you'll pretty much know if you like those already. I don't think I need to go through that whole system again.
Yep.
And then, of course, there is Shara's Eternal Palace.
Ooh.
That seems to be worse than Desire Lore. Just based on, I think Preach is who I would trust the most in this sort of thing. So, based on, you know, hearing Preach's thoughts, I don't think it's that amazing of a raid. Seems to be perfectly fine with, you know, some pretty good bosses, and according to him anyway, a few that are pretty gimmicky and not that good. So maybe not as good as Desire Lore if you're purely going here as a raider.
Okay.
But I think it definitely is a far more broad patch that will have a more broad appeal, though maybe less so to the people who pretty much just want to raid and then log off and pretty much have that be the way that they experience World of Warcraft. So I think now that we've just covered generally those things, I do want to hop into some highlights and lowlights, and we'll start off with the highlights. For me, highlight number 1 has got to be itemization and gearing. They have really...
Thank God. Like, if that's not highlight number 1, the patch is going to suck.
Tried hard recently to make the gear more interesting in World of Warcraft, and let's be real, they really need to, because it's been quite an issue. So when we look at the benthic gearing system, that's actually quite great. I really like how it is, you know, it's a gearing system that you just progress through in a pretty fair and honest way. You work out the benthic gear that you want. Okay, there's a little bit of RNG in initially getting the gear, but the actual upgrade process is, you know, nice and honest and above board. You've got no Titan forging. You've got no random stuff to contend with.
Fucking great.
Stat template so you can kind of plan out what you want for your character. So I think that's a really good gearing system. But then the benthic gear also has really cool special effects. Well, not really cool, but, you know, pretty cool. And you can kind of work out which benthic special effects do I want. And then we look at, say, the Ashara's Eternal Palace raid gear. Once again, like with the Crucible of Storms, loads of that raid gear has just nice little effects on it. Things that make individual bits of gear actually memorable, actually...
That's actually true. That's actually true. I really like the fact that they have these new fucking items in Crucible of Storms that do cool things. Even if they make PvP suck, it doesn't matter. The fact that they have this stuff in the game now is amazing. Like, they should have been doing this since the beginning. Like, I think the first patch, you just drop the baseline gear. You know, the gear with just the basic stats. Then the second patch, you have things like Crucible of Storms. And then the third patch, the last raid, that's whenever you bring out the big dick items like Dragon Soul gear. Right? You bring out the fucking Girthlax. You bring out the Cunnings of the Cruel. You bring out the really, really cool shit. And that's what I think they should do every single time around. Read the top comment.
Everybody knows you do this shit nowadays, man.
Well, it's a way that I look at it. It's a way for me to talk about shit, right?
It's almost 1,000 fucking upvotes. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. I can. Do you remember whenever we watched that 4-minute video and I talked about it for an hour?
Yes.
I mean, listen. Here's what I want you guys to understand. I've been trying to make content out of retail WoW for 3 years. I can drag things out forever. Just like I dragged that sentence out. I can spend time talking about extra things. There's no way. Like, if like, McConnell, you even asked me, like, oh, can you stall on this? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, remember whenever you had to go AFK for like an hour and I just wasted time for like an hour?
I don't know if it was an hour, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was no big deal. Say things in 4 different ways so people understand. Exactly, yeah. Random stories here and there, and then that reminds me of something else. Make a tweet, like the tweet. Now you read the comments on the tweet. You go back to the video, 5 more minutes in a video, 3 more minutes in a video. Then there's a post on Wowhead. You read the post on Wowhead. Someone types something stupid in chat. You read their logs. Then you look at somebody else's logs. You talk about the logs. Then you look at maybe your own logs and other channels. Then, okay, read some donations. You like the donations. Thank you guys so much. Watch another minute of the video, go back in game, somebody's trading you an item, accept the item, say thank you for the item, and like this is like 35 minutes, right? And you've gone through about 3 minutes of the video. Like, I mean, this is, trust me, like I've been watching Blizzard for a long time. Time gating content is my specialty. Basically the ADD of stream content. Yeah, exactly. I'm doing it right now. Yeah, dude, exactly. All right, let's go ahead and start.
Stand out from each other, not just be a different combination.
Yeah, I'm stalling
of
by
stats.
talking about stalling.
That's so much more interesting. That means that when you look at this new raid, you can kind of think, well, you know, here's this really cool set of pants.
Yep.
I want to get that. It's got some cool effects. Maybe it will go well with some benthic gloves. I don't know, but you kind of get the point.
Yeah, sure.
Then when we look at Mechagon, right, you've got the
I
punch
love
card
this trinket.
trinket. That
This
thing
trinket's
is so
fucking
cool.
amazing.
So it's a trinket, but it's got like 3. Basically, it's got 3 gem slots. They're called
Yes, it's
punch
fucking
cards, but it's
great.
3 slots or 3
Red,
4
yellow,
slots.
and blue.
Anyway, it's got slots.
A little bit of nostalgia
and then
there.
you can unlock different things to put into those slots, and they will give you different effects. Like there's a more, there's a more sort of throughput combat focused one. There's ones that are more stat focused. There's ones that are more utility focused, and that's really cool. You build.
Everybody loves this trinket. Like McConnell, you like the trinket, right?
Yeah.
Everybody loves it, right? That's the truth. This is a great addition into the game. Like I've been waiting for this for a long fucking time. And yeah, pausing right now. Now everybody's paying attention to it. But listen, like I'm very, very happy about this fucking trinket. Like they need to start adding more shit like this into the game. Like customizable gear. Like it really, that's what people want, is being able to customize and have more control over what their character is able to do. And they're making trinkets like this. It's fucking amazing. Flying Ruin World PvP? No, it didn't. Let me read here. You missed my sub. I'm sorry if I missed your sub. Wish I could play beta. I always started playing WoW and Mop. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'd rather give this to McConnell, but you will do. I certainly will. Thanks for the $2, man. Appreciate that. Get me into the beta? Sure, Geos. I'll do that right now. I got the drop down tab for Classic that says the server's down. The Blizzard just bait me. Yeah, they did with the stress test. Yeah, you just got baited. Night Elf ERP is better than completionism. I don't know about that, man. It's hard really for me to say. Thank you guys all for the resubs, by the way, guys. I really fucking appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Everybody's gonna suck at the same shit anyway, just like glyphs. Well, yeah, but the illusion of choice is better than no choice. I mean, that's at least like my mentality, right? Like, yeah, of course, all the high-end players are gonna do the exact same thing, but just because of that doesn't mean that you want to make everything else in the game the exact same.
Your own trinket. That is a novel thing to do in the game. So when you look just across the itemization here, we've got the Benthic system, which basically is the best form of new patch upgrade gear that we've got. I mean, it just wipes the floor with those like Argus, random tokens that we got. It's so much better. So that's so much better.
Thank God.
And look at the itemization of that gear and the design of that.
Thank
it's so much
fucking
more
God.
interesting. So even if BFA still has a...
By that logic, the Azurite traits are good. Yeah, I think they're a lot better than they were at the beginning. Azurite traits are great. The problem is, why do people not like Azurite traits? Do they not like Azurite traits because they're Azurite traits? Or do they not like them because they're taking the place of tier set gear? People feel like they're losing tier set gear because of the Azurite traits and the fact that they have to refarm the Azurite traits over and over and over. People don't like Azurite traits because of the secondary reasons and everything else. The Azurite traits on their own, like imagine if you had a separate leveling system that only had to do with Azurite traits and you were able to get these independently of your gear and you still had tier sets. Ooh. People would say that was fucking awesome. Like Azurite gear has great potential. Like Inevitable Demise, the Cold Steel Hot Blood, some of the other like Warlock talents, Azurite traits. I know like Demonology had a really good one. There's tons of really, really great Azurite traits that are in the game that do make classes more interesting. Azurite traits fundamentally are not the problem. The acquisition method and the perceived loss and the perceived opportunity cost of Azurite traits at the expense of tier gear is the problem. That's what I think.
Wow.
A whole bunch of issues. If that thing can be carried forward into the next expansion, that'll be a really, really good thing for players. So, itemization in this patch actually gets a pretty big win. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what it's like for balance, but just the idea of, you've got your essences, which means all the passive effects and the new ability for your class, or new major effect, and then you've got all the stuff that...
Opportunity cost is your favorite word, Asmongold. No, it's not. Because it's 2 words.
Yeah, bitch.
Comes from your gear now with that all being customizable. So much better. So definitely a big win. And then also the essences themselves, I've already covered most of those, but again, I think they're a big win. I think they kind of have the potential to be the best version of this type of thing that Blizz have done. Now, they're obviously marred by their connection to existing BFA systems that people don't particularly like, myself included, but if you just had a system like this from the start of an expansion, I think it would actually go down quite well. So, those, imagine the essences essentially were legendary effects, and, I mean, being real, this is, I think, in winter 2017, the winter after BFA came out.
Oh, wow.
I kind of pretty much proposed this as
Wait,
a thing,
what the fuck? That'd be awesome.
Basically, I got pretty salty.
Why didn't they do that?
Legendaries and Legion, so I just thought to myself, what if you yank the effects out of the legendaries and just have
that'd
2
be
or 3
awesome.
of them be socketable on your legendary weapon? That's pretty much what we've got with this new system. And I mean, yeah, I kind of liked it back when I first thought up about that idea back then, and I certainly still like it now. So I think it's really quite good. Obviously it has some PR and optics issues because it is attached to, it's attached to the heart, and the heart's obviously not the most popular thing in the universe, but I think...
Because it sucks. Here's the thing. Imagine this. Imagine if we had every customizable character system that came out since Cataclysm. Imagine if we had the old talent trees. Imagine if we had the legendary items from quest lines. Imagine if we had artifact weapons, Legion legendaries. Imagine if we had the traits and the different perks that you're able to get from the Draenor garrisons. Imagine if we had Azurite gear on top of that. Tier sets, reforging, glyphs, set bonuses. There'd be so much shit in the game, you would lay down and dream about theory crafting. It would be fucking ridiculous. It'd be amazing. It'd be just fucking incredible. That's PoE? Yeah, and people love it.
It's a pretty solid system. And, you know, it's been weird. There's been a lot of people saying that it's like the Netherlight Crucible and stuff like that. I think those sentiments have mostly died down because, like, they're literally not true now that people have kind of got a bit more familiar with the essences. So I think they'll actually go down pretty decently with the average player. I think for the real top-end people, there might be downsides to that system
nobody gives a
and
shit.
sort of balance issues, but I think for the average WoW player, it's a cool new power that you can get that comes with customization and has a non-super RNG, like super fair, good unlock system that I think people will appreciate.
That's great.
And then I suppose for me, the other highlight is Mechagon. As I've said, it's just more playful, it's more self-directed, it's more of a sandbox.
Good.
And
that's what we
just
need.
The type of thing that I think World of Warcraft needs just heaps more of. This, it's not going far enough, sure, but it's a very, very good first step, and I definitely commend them for that, and it seems very clear to me that just when you look at the contrast between Mechagon and Nazjatar, it's clearly an experiment. It clearly is an experiment to see, you know, what do players like immediately and what do players actually keep on playing over time. So
well, they already know that. Timeless Isle. Like, if I go to Timeless Isle right now and retail WoW, there's going to be people there. Like, even right now, years after it's been, it's like not content anymore. People still go to Timeless Isle to get the items. Like, all they need to do is figure out why was Timeless Isle so good and then iterate and build on that. Unfortunately, they tried to do that with Tannan Jungle. Aye. Swing and a miss.
Would not be surprised if Mechagon turns out really good and we see more of its ideas worked into the world content of the next expansion. And then I suppose the final, I guess, highlight for me is there are a lot of new rewards like mounts and pets and stuff like that to go after in this patch.
On right now.
And while I know that is not a major part of the game for loads of the people who watch these videos,
wait,
I do
what?
know that there is a very cosmetics and kind of character progression, but not just in the throughput way. There's a lot of people who really love that, who watch these videos, and I think for you, this patch is doing a really good job. There's loads of cool new mechs.
This is what matters.
Cool new sort of underwater themed mounts. There's flying. There's a lot there. So I think this patch is actually doing what it needs to in that regard, and yeah, that'll provide people with good reasons to come back.
That's the only thing that matters. McConnell, can you agree with me on that? That cosmetics are the only thing that matter in the game? Like completionism?
Yeah, cosmetics and achievement points are the only reason to play retail WoW.
Yes.
You don't play it because like the classes are good or PvP is good.
No.
Or questing is good.
Absolutely not.
Leveling is definitely not good.
Of course not.
So the only reason is to actually just collect things and like get titles and achievement points.
That's it. That's the only reason. That's
also,
all.
I'm not being satirical or sarcastic or anything. That's how I really feel.
McConnell, somebody told me that you told them something very sad once.
Huh?
I'm going to share it.
No, don't.
It's okay. It's about WoW.
Okay.
I forgot who it was. Asked McConnell, why are you playing retail WoW and farming these things? And McConnell said, one day, if the game ever becomes good again, I'll have them and they'll matter.
Oh, yeah, I did say that. Yeah. That was really sad.
It really was. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Importantly, it also will provide the game with kind of evergreen content, because if you skip this patch and then come back in 8.3, well, unlike a lot of the gearing systems that will be replaced, a lot of those mount unlocks, they still will exist as viable content to do. So it's always good to see those things be kept up and maintained, because they do last into the future. So
nobody gives a fuck. Like the mount stuff, like in terms of like casual players and everything, mount content is not real content. I mean, like, you need to have for like just the majority of the player base, right? I mean, like obviously it should be the meta, but for the majority of the player base that aren't invested in their character enough to care about their character's progression, they just want to make their character stronger. And so unless you have power upgrades, then it's not going to matter.
With that, let's talk about some lowlights. I think World of Warcraft's single player sort of story stuff to me, it still is a bit of a letdown. I think Blizzard think it's better than it is, and I think that results in them leaning a bit too heavily on it as a super interesting thing in a new patch, where I just think they need to try to innovate there or do something different. It very much seems like they're trying to provide a big hype campaign thing for people to play through.
The shard is pretty
that
high.
Sometimes comes at the cost of like just a good RPG for your character, and it's just maybe more like they're playing to their weaknesses rather than their strengths. I think that's been an issue for a while, and I think that does continue to be an issue with the sort of single-player-ish narrative content of this patch. Then I guess there's the new raid, which does not seem to be as good as Desire Lore. Although that said, Desire Lore might have been one of the best raids ever. So it's not like every single one's going to be completely hitting it out of the park. But, I mean, certainly looking at what feedback has been, it's not really made me super hyped to experience that. Even though, I mean, the lore and the art and all that stuff is undoubtedly pretty darn cool.
So I can't say.
And then I guess on the topic of the raid, well,
the gear.
Yeah, there's no set pieces. That I think is unfortunate. Let's be real. The new armor from this raid is not great.
Yeah, it is. I like the new armor. Like I don't agree with that. I actually really like the new armor. I think it looks fucking amazing. And it's ugly as fuck. BOD is it? No. Really? You guys don't like it?
It is pretty bad.
Really? It looks like, dude, you look like fucking Aquaman. Look at that. It's awesome.
Nah, honestly, I really like the class specific ones.
Oh,
they were hit or miss. Yeah, they were hit or miss.
Yeah.
But like with these, they always miss, huh? For real.
No, not all. No, some of them are good. Like the problem is there's not enough of them. That's the issue. I mean, like, you really gonna say like the cloth armor and like mythic BOD wasn't cool?
I mean, they only have to design fucking 4 kinds, right? Why can't they just go fucking wild with it? Just look, I'm not an artist. I can't tell people how to do art. You should never tell people how to do art ever.
Yeah, you should.
Okay?
What do you mean? People, like, if somebody draws a stupid ass picture, it's gonna suck. Like, it just...
No.
Okay.
You should never tell people how to do art, but what I'm saying is that they could be a little bit crazier with the armor that they're putting out, okay?
I agree with that. I think they probably could do more with it. But it's like, they just need to make more sets. Like, instead of making it more crazy, I just want them to make more sets. Like, there's just simply not enough sets in the game right now. There's like a dozen sets that you can get, and that's it. Like, and that's including Island Expedition stuff too. It's just not enough.
Type of thing that people will be excited to get now, and I don't think it's the type of thing that people will be excited to do transmog runs of in the future. So I think the lingering problems of that initial decision are still haunting Blizzard and haunting the game. Then I suppose in terms of other things that are a bit of a low light, the mount equipment, I think that could have been a lot more about player customization and just fun, right? But instead, I think it's just ended up being a very simple problem-solving thing where, you know, it just exists so that people don't have to use the water strider. I think they could have really taken a different path with that and made it about making your mount feel super powerful and customizing it and unlocking really cool things for your mounts. But they didn't do that. They went with a far more simple system that I think just isn't really that fun and kind of...
It's boring, and it's boring, right? I mean, like, the mount equipment's great, but what they need to do is they need to create a mount meta. And what I mean by that is your mount should be like a pet, kind of. And let's say you go to like Elwyn Forest, you go to the Eastvale Logging Camp, or the Horde go to like the Wolf Trainer, and you get your basic bitch wolf. And then you add in achievements into the game that allow you to customize that wolf or that horse with different armor and items, like a different like mane, different colors, everything like that. And that way you actually can have visual progression that's meaningful, while at the same time you don't actually have to make a bunch of different mounts. You just add mount equipment, and you could have like a saddlebag. Let's say, imagine this, right? You have a saddlebag that has a skull of, let's say, Onyxia, if you kill Onyxia. Now, obviously, that wouldn't be a big deal, and I don't think they should do that because that'd be too easy. But make these mount equipment items like capstone rewards for the game. And so if you have something like that, like Final Fantasy 14, maybe if they do that, that's a great idea. If it does exactly that with the mounts or using combat and everything. Yeah, Black Desert did it too. And I don't know about using mounts in combat, but having different cosmetic things that you can put onto the mounts that are unlocked with achievements, and then having like your basic mount that you can augment and equip with different items would be fucking amazing. And you could even make a jousting minigame, right? You could have like a jousting minigame where you're able to get more mount equipment that helps you with jousting other players. And you could even create that inside of the other microsystem. Like, that'd be really cool. And Wrath of the Lich King? Well, yeah, exactly like Wrath of the Lich King. Exactly like that. Just use that idea and build on it. Trial of the Crusader? Yeah, I know.
Kind of remove some of the uniqueness from things that I thought were, well, pretty cool because they were unique. Then I guess Nazjatar, yeah, it could have been more like world quests are still world quests. They're too spread out. I wish they had taken more inspiration from the faction incursions of 8.1. I think when world quests are overlapping with a more cohesive theme, I think that's a lot more interesting than what we've seen in the PTR.
World
now that
quests
said,
are
the
boring.
events are pretty cool. The battle for
BFA
Nazjatar is
are.
also really cool, but just that world quest system, that world quest game loop, I think Blizzard do need to make that a fair bit better. I think they've been just a little bit lackadaisical when it comes to innovating in that. And there are ways that even within the current World Quest framework, they could make those feel a bit more exciting and have
faster.
the gameplay be a little bit better.
Meta
But right now, it very much is still the do your World Quest, travel segment, do your world quest, travel segment, do your world quest, hand your thing in, and it's not particularly incredible. Now that said,
really
there are the little objectives that you will complete while you're doing your world quest. That does give you a bit of that quest stacking feel. But I mean, yeah, I think they could have done better there, being real with you. Then, I mean, heroic warfronts.
Where's the testing on that?
Islands. I'm not really that excited for either of them. I don't think they're really reasons why people will be coming back to the game. I'll put it that way. And yeah, I think that's it for the highlights and the lowlights of this patch. That's the stuff that really calls out to me. So let's get back to the core question of this video, which is...
I think Bellular is actually selling heroic warfronts a little bit short. How badass would it be if you could get 20 of your boys and go into a mythic warfront every single time that it came up, and it was the same difficulty as like the entry bosses in BOD, and completing the mythic warfront that's actually really hard. You have to like strategy and planning, and completing it would give you a mythic raid gear piece of stuff, like a piece of gear. That would be amazing. Why the fuck are we not doing that? Like that's awesome. That's dumb as fuck. Why is it dumb? Why the fuck is that dumb? You still can't lose in a heroic warfare. I don't know. I think that'd be amazing. Like, why not make it a raid? Well, because it would be like a unique event, right? Same like, and this is, wait, what do you mean? So you guys say this is bad. Who here like VOA Vault of Archivon? It'd be the same fucking thing. It's a one boss raid that it's kind of hard. Or at least like the first ones were kind of, or last ones were kind of hard. Like whenever they eventually came out, it's the same fucking thing. How are you going to hate that and then hate this and not hate that? So trials, yeah, exactly. Why do that whenever you can just do normal and wait for Titan Forges? Aye.
Should you return to this patch? And I think it's pretty simple. If you started Battle for Azeroth, and even, you know, in spite of the sort of depowering and the class, the class gameplay being a little bit pared down, but you still fundamentally enjoyed doing some dungeons, doing a bit of PvP, going through your world quests, going through the zones and their stories. If that's the type of way that you enjoy World of Warcraft and you want to go and, you know, do that stuff, spend a while doing some mounts, maybe just put 1 or 2 months into the game, check out the raid and PTR, and then just kind of think, yeah, I've had my fill, I'll come back in the next patch. Well, okay. I think if you're that type of player, this patch is actually really well designed for you. And the reason why I say that is because, yep, there's a big new whack of content to do in terms of the single-player story stuff. There is Mechagon, which will keep you busy for I think a pretty chunky period of time. There's just your general Nazjatar progression, which again, if you generally like that so far in WoW, there's another big chunk of it. And yes, it is a bit better than it has been in the past. So that's all going to be pretty good. You've got really cool mounts to unlock, and no doubt there'll be some fun secrets and stuff like that they've cooked up. There'll be a new raid to do in LFR if you want to sort of casually do that, or normal or heroic if you're into a guild. All of that stuff for the kind of casual interested World of Warcraft player is done well in this patch. You've got itemization that's way more interesting. You've got your new trinket in Mechagon, and then you'll go around trying to get all the punch cards. You've got a big new mega dungeon. It's actually a really big patch with a lot of pretty darn solid content. So if you were just kind of like, if you were still having fun in BFA in spite of some of its issues, and you just kind of felt like, you know, 8.1 didn't add enough, 8.15 didn't add enough, and it just felt like the game was in a bit of a slump. Well, this patch certainly has a lot of things for you to go and do, and even thinking of that benthic gearing system, again, that's a whole bunch of gameplay, a whole bunch of time in that. So, yeah, if basically another slice of World of Warcraft has been served up to you, and it is a good bit better than the initial BFA slice of content. So if you're still sort of hungry for that, this patch absolutely does have stuff for you. Now, I will say that if you're somebody who sort of begrudgingly played through Battle for Azeroth and just, you know, you really don't like the classes, and I know there's been a lot of people who've said that, like, it doesn't matter if the islands are amazing or the new zone is amazing, I just don't enjoy playing the game because of, like, its gameplay. Well, there's not really anything in this patch that'll fix that. The essences might give you a few new bells and whistles, same goes for the new itemization of that gear, but fundamentally, the classes are the classes. They are BFA classes. I think there's a very large chance that 9.0 will be doing a lot more of those classes. Blizzard have said in interviews a lot of things that do seem to suggest to me anyway that they understand why classes are not really that great, that they pare down too much, they reduce button count too much, they double down in spec for spec identity instead of class identity. They've said things that are kind of encouraging, and maybe that just means that if you're really that type of player, 9.0 is maybe the next time you should be reconsidering World of Warcraft again, because that stuff's probably just out of scope of BFA. Definitely sad to say that, but being realistic for that type of player, that's kind of what I think. And then I suppose if you didn't really like the core of Battle for Azeroth, but you're kind of interested in something that's better than it, and that is actually where I personally am, yeah, I think there could be a reason to go back here. And this is really where it kind of comes the closest to how I personally feel. So I'll be real with you. In Battle for Azeroth, the glass shattered for me so fast. It's never shattered that fast. Just, you know, that time where you kind of, you're doing all your WoW things, then you sit down at the computer and you're like, hang on a second, I've just stopped caring. You know, you kind of get that weird moment. And for me, that's just when I kind of realized
I know exactly
the Azerite treadmill is never going to end. I don't really like the Heart of Azeroth stuff. I don't like the Azerite traits.
That's so sad,
There's not enough stuff at endgame to do that's like good as an RPG, like Suramar. And for me, that happened really quickly in BFA. I'll be completely honest with you. And I've not had much drive to play the game in this expansion. So when I, from that perspective, look at this patch, well, Mechagon, I'm a lot more interested in that. Way more interested, because I think back to the Timeless Isles, I put a lot of time in there, and Mechagon seems to be doing that again. So that is something that, to me, is new and interesting as compared to the average World of Warcraft experience, honestly, for like the last 4 or 5 years. That's pretty good. Then the itemization. I was so bored of it.
WoW is so good. It used to be so good that now people play it, even though they hate it, for over, like, the better part of a decade. Like, I hate this fucking game. One day it'll be good again. And they just keep playing it because there's nothing else to do.
WoW gear. Well, now there's a bunch of new, far more interesting WoW gear. There's my punch card, and that I think will tie into the essences, which I genuinely, like, they're a really good fit for me, I think, as a player. So, essentially, from my perspective, not really liking BFA, but kind of liking a lot of the new ideas in this patch, well, to me, yeah, it's worth playing, and I will definitely be playing earnestly, giving it giving Old Country try a really good shot for the first month, properly playing my character. I've been leveling up my hunter again because I want to do that on a fresh character that's kind of just free from BFA baggage. So that's how I'm going to be doing it. So yes, the answer to the initial part of this video, should you come back to World of Warcraft? I mean, it was never going to be a yes or a no. It always was going to be a it depends. But I hope that I've been able to tease out what that question will be like, depending on what type of player you are and on what parts of World of Warcraft that you appreciate. So there you go. That's my thoughts on this topic. I will be returning to this patch. I'll be giving it a good shot. I'll be going through my essences, picking up my punch card, going through Mechagon, and probably getting some, nice swimmy boys in Nazjatar. So, that's what I'm doing. Let me know what you're doing down below, and stay tuned to the channel because there will be all the usual guide content and all that for this patch. Thank you very much for watching this slightly more rambly, rather extended video, and with that, I extended it even more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, everything he's saying just makes perfect fucking sense. I mean, there it is. 2 hours kind of... Has it been... did I actually do this for 2 hours?
Almost.
Really?
Yeah, like an hour and a half.
Okay, dude, I'll get better next time. Sorry, I forgot to bring out more relevant personal anecdotes. I'll do that next time 100%, okay, guys? Don't worry about it.